this week. For all of you watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it if you can. Drop your comments down below. We love interacting with anyone that's watching or listening, sharing your views and getting involved in the show. For those listening on any of the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, please follow, give us a 5-star review if you can. Every little bit is appreciated. So yeah, try and get involved on the audio side as well. But let's get into the big game of the weekend then. City 0, Arsenal 0. You didn't get your prediction 100% right because I think you went 1-1, didn't you? But you did mention it could be 0-0 or 1-1. Yeah, there was a little bit of action, but I've got to say my personal 2 cents on this one, or 2 pennies on this one, is you two just us like Arteta. I rate him for it because he completely changed the style of play. He completely adjusted for this game, and it made complete sense because, you know, this is the last top 3 fixture out of the 3 of you, and he's come out of this with the best record. 2 wins at home against Liverpool and City, 2 away draws at the Etihad and at Anfield. You can't complain, man. You've taken points off them, which is what you want to do against your rivals. So I give him props for it. But from a viewing perspective, oh hell, that was one of the stinkiest big games I've seen in a little bit. And I'm really glad we didn't watch it live. Like, we went and did our family stuff instead because, I don't know, personally speaking, result-wise, you take it, you've got to be really happy. And you might rue not kind of going for it because City weren't at their best. But in terms of a spectacle, it certainly wasn't, as you predicted, it certainly wasn't a United-Liverpool game from the FA Cup a couple of weeks back. It was very few chances, a lot of people marking other people out of the game. Your wingers were doubling up on their wingers. It was a really good tactical defensive display, but in terms of a spectacle, yeah, it wasn't the greatest. But let's get your view, John. That's just my outsider's view. What did you make of the game, and are you ultimately happy with the result?
The game was obviously not very eventful, but it's what I've come to expect from 2 big teams playing each other, and I kind of said it. I alluded to it in the last episode. Really, is that when you see 2 very tactical, kind of very thoughtful managers line up against each other, particularly in the Premier League, you don't tend to get great football, right? And I think I said it in the group chat as well. It's like you need teams to be a bit worse, generally speaking, from a tactical and from a man-to-man perspective, for the game to be a bit more fun. And I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, like I'm happy to get out there with a point. I think everyone's always, you know, criticizing us, saying, "Oh, we bottle it here, we bottle it there. We don't know what it means to win. We can't, you know, we don't have the experience." And so, you know, when it comes to these really big ties, we just completely bottle it and lose and whatever else. And I think, from my point of view, what I see Arteta trying to do maybe is, you know, it doesn't matter how we play to get the result. Let's just get the result, and let's make sure that the people in this team remember that we can go up against these teams and we can get out of there, you know, without conceding goals. We can get out of there winning. We can get out of there, you know, playing an even game. So from my point of view, I don't think we didn't line up to be the most attacking team, but what, you know, sane manager wants to go up against Man City and just start taking major risks all the time? I think Arteta's too smart for that. I think he realizes that there's still a lot of games left to play. We don't need to be going like balls to the wall to try and smash City out the water at the Etihad, which we know from last season is a really difficult, you know, job to do. I mean, the fact that we're the first team for a long time to keep them without scoring at their home ground is mental as well. So, I mean, it's not an easy place to go and to just expect that you're just going to batter them off the pitch. So from my point of view, obviously, I think we are the main culprits for making the game a bit worse. I think we obviously defended really deep. We put a lot of men behind the ball. We were very organised, a lot of pressing. And then when the press was broken, it was a very deep, everyone get back behind the ball kind of affair. And again, how do you go up against City and try and get something at the Etihad without doing something like that? And in my mind, it's exactly what I want to see from Arteta. Not in the fact that I want him to be a very defensive manager, But when we come up against a team that is man for man probably better than us, right? And I've seen all the combined 11s. There aren't a lot of Arsenal players in a lot of you lot's combined 11s. So if we're coming up against a team that's man for man better than us, then I want to see him show me like that you can play against this team without having to like play our absolute best football all the time and smash them out of the water. So it just shows to me that he's got more depth, more dimension to his game than I first expected, because I think this is the first real time that I've seen us proper like not shit it, but proper get people behind it and just and not take major risks to try to win the game. So I mean, overall from my point of view, I'm happy with it, but yeah, I admit it's not a great viewing for a neutral.
Yeah, no, like I hear you, man, and I completely understand. I would actually kind of argue a little bit though and say early stage Arteta, he did this kind of stuff, and this is the reason why like I've been more bought in than maybe some Arteta questioners and some other rival fans who've kind of said that he's rubbish when you guys were in eighth and struggling a bit, because he showed this kind of flexibility and like kind of lack of arrogance or like overly stubbornness to like only be able to play one way. Because early days when you had the Mustafis and the Kolasinaks and the people that obviously he didn't want to have in the team, he realised I've got to just try and play on the counter with Aubameyang over the top and do things that maybe you can see now or maybe not his philosophy of football. So I think there were times where maybe he's been naive in the past when he's gone, okay, I want to keep playing my style now. We're playing so well and you get spanked a few times. But he's finding the balance, which, to be honest, man, this is title winning stuff. When a manager starts to find the balance, he's proven that he's got these different facets to his game. I think sometimes it's unfair when people look at Arteta and say, "Oh, there were these shoots of beautiful football in the early days." I don't think so, man. There were shoots of him having character and him like working things out tactically. I actually think you only saw the shoots kind of all sprout in one go, and that was what last season really, or like maybe the season before the kind of top four problems with Spurs and the bottling and all that kind of stuff. You started to see the shoots. We're in season 3 then, so that's why I believe in giving managers time, and I think Arteta got this spot on. And there's a bit of irony involved because we'll get into the key events in a minute, but obviously some people are saying it's a park the bus, some people are saying it's a tactical masterclass. There are less people probably hammering Arteta now about taking this approach than, for example, we did when we went to Liverpool. I think everyone was like, oh, we completely parked the bus, and I get it. There's a slightly different narrative, but that comes with you guys playing much better than us, so you get a bit more grace, right, for putting in this kind of display away in a title race. It makes complete sense. But let's get into the key events quickly. There were a few chances. I know there weren't loads, but Gabby Jesus had one early doors. It wasn't like a huge, massive chance. I guess on XG or whatever, it wouldn't be a plus 0.5 chance. But he had a snapshot, which I think Ortega in goal made a really good save. But I guess you could say you would hope maybe he would have had a bit more of a decent chance at scoring that, or do you feel like that was kind of not really a big chance and more of a half chance? Are you going to give Jesus any blame, or do you feel like he did his best with that?
I mean, I think it's a half chance for him. I think it's probably a full chance for someone who's slightly better at finishing, right? So I'm not going to go too hard on him. I think that he had a decent game. He does what he needs to do. He puts in a lot of work. He's running around giving a lot of people a hard time the whole time, and it puts a lot of pressure on their back four. So I genuinely I'm not like angry that he missed those chances. I do think obviously there was also one, I think, in the second half or maybe later on in the first half where Saka puts the ball across the mouth of the goal and he kind of doesn't go after it properly. It goes past the defender and it ends up just going straight over to the corner flag. And that one, if he had got on the end of it, was pretty much an open goal or like a very easy one-on-one where I'd imagine that he would have scored it. So I think all of our best chances really fell to him. And I mean, it just kind of confirms to me the need for in these kinds of games, these like smash and grab type of games, we do need to have a very clinical striker to be able to get the most out of it, right? I think he's probably not that, and at the same time, I'm not asking him to be that. I think he has a position in the team, he has a role in our squad that isn't that, and I think we've had enough time now to see that he's not going to be the most clinical striker around. He's got his strengths, you know, in terms of his work ethic, in terms of his build-up play, in terms of his dribbling ability and the ability to kind of make chances out of nothing. But his ability to finish those chances isn't exactly what we need. So I'm not angry at him. I do think those could have been like, you know, obviously game-changing moments. And I think had we probably scored one of those, I think we would have seen a different game. I think we would have seen Man City probably have to open up a little bit more, and maybe we would. I'm not saying that we would have, you know, not stuck to the man behind the ball kind of methodology, but I imagine that we probably would have tried to take a couple more transitional chances and probably got a few more chances up there end had they gone 1-0 down. So it's really just a game of moments, and unfortunately, Jesus couldn't really, he couldn't capitalize on those chances that he had.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it would have changed the whole landscape of the game, really. I think we've talked about it in a couple of other games, right? Scoring early sometimes obviously it's going to completely change the game. So I reckon if you'd have, for example, if Jesus maybe scored that first chance, City come out, you come out, then you have maybe more of a, you know, a possibility that it's going to become a Man United Liverpool style of game going end to end because they've got to go for it. If you'd have scored late on with that, or in the second half when Jesus had the kind of the goal mouth kind of cross that Saka put across the goal, yeah, I'm not sure. I think you guys would have just snuffed them out and held on probably for a 1-0, and it was probably timing wise.
Yeah, a later goal would suit us better. Like in the first tie of this season, or Gabriel Martinelli smashes it off someone's back or whatever, and it goes in. Quite a late goal.
His face, isn't it? Yeah, Ake's face.
Yeah, it was a later goal, and it kind of that was easier to defend against. But as you said, when we score some early goals, sometimes it gets real cagey because teams just start going at us, and we can't sustain that defensive kind of solidity for the whole match, and they end up being able to get a goal back against us pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed necessarily by not scoring some of those chances. Obviously, the one, as I said, the one with Saka across the goal, that could have been nice. But again, I'm happy with the point. You know, it's a difficult place to go, and we need, as I said before, we need these players in their heads to know that we can go there and get results. We need to prove it out whatever way we can. I don't care about playing beautiful football. These are young guys that haven't done this or been in this position properly before, and when they have, they bottled it. So I just need them mentally to know this is possible. And I think mentally, that game was the perfect for us because it said to them, you know what, they can have all the ball all the time. It doesn't matter. We are structured. We're organized. We won't be broken down. And I mean, it's good practice also for the Champions League, man. When we're coming up against Bayern and Real Madrid, do you think that we're going to be going toe to toe with them the whole 90 minutes? No chance. We're going to need to be defensively solid when we play against those kinds of teams, right? I'm not even going to get ahead of myself to say Real Madrid or Man City, actually, because Bayern Munich themselves are a really hard tie. So I think generally speaking, it's good experience. And all of the best teams I can think of have that ability, right? The Arsenal, you know, Invincibles, the Man United treble winners, the Man United of pretty much a 15-year period after that as well. Like, you guys had that ability to just, you know what, we're shutting up shop, right? Like the Chelsea team, the great Chelsea teams under Mourinho have that ability. So 15 goals, from that perspective, this is another kind of feather in the cap for us, I think. And if we can prove it against Man City, then I hope we'll be able to prove it against others as well.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a good sign, man. They haven't scored against you in both league ties. I know they scored in the Community Shield in a 1-1, but I think I've heard Arsenal fans gas that up and other fans talk about the Community Shield. No one gives a crap about that, so I'm not counting that. That's basically a friendly. But the two league games, they haven't really had a sniff. Like, I know we got to talk.
I think I saw that Haaland hasn't had a single shot.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, but he was
and Gabriel just
poor.
Absolutely shut him down.
Yeah, he was absolutely poor in this game. Gary Neville said it on comms, and you know, there are times when we don't necessarily agree with Gary Neville, but it's kind of true. He kind of looked like he didn't know how to play football at times in that game against you guys a couple of days ago. Like, obviously he's got the danger in front of goal, but just sometimes his coordination just makes him seem like he doesn't know what he's doing and he doesn't know how to control his body. But I think that's kind of, natural of someone his size. But boy,
it's also partly though, like, we no offense, like, I'm not trying to blame it all on him, but we made him look bad, right? Like,
no, Gabriel and Saliba were world class in that game.
Yeah, like we've made a lot of their good players look bad, right? And it's only their really classy players that are able to break through it. And I think Haaland, as we've said before, like, Haaland is the best finisher in the game, but outside of that, there's a lot that needs to be developed about his game. And I think Gabriel and Saliba knew that. And they said, all right, we just defend deep. You're not going to get a sniff at goal. We're going to shut you down, push you over, do whatever we need to do to you. And you haven't really got the facilities to try to take one of us on one-on-one with the ball on the ground and try and beat us. So, outside of that, you're not in the game, mate. Good luck.
You got to just cut his sources out, innit? Like, you just got to cut out his source, and then he's not really going to give you any problems necessarily one-on-one, right? Like, if you're a Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk level defender, and we've had the argument with that one-on-one with City and Liverpool, right? Van Dijk and Haaland. I would back the defender in every single one-on-one with him. Those three. I'm not saying everyone, because obviously you look at what happened to Branthwaite in the Everton game, right? He obviously got dropped, and Haaland tucked it away. But if you're talking the top defenders in this league, the Van Dijks, the Gabriels, the Salibas, I would back them one-on-one against Haaland. So what City have to do is try and get the De Bruynes and the Bernardo Silvas to try and create opportunities for him where he's not one-on-one, where he's got open goals, where he's got opportunities, where he's away from the defenders. And if you cut those sources out, which you guys did with your doubling up, right, on Ben White did really well. I thought Kivior was a bit shaky, but still in the overall grand scheme of things, he did his job. But he relied heavily on Jesus and Saka coming back and not really offering anything going forward, right? Their defenses were, and I think it was Gary Neville said, it was almost like a 4-4-2, which I think was genius. For the game plan, it was genius. Cut off their sources to Haaland, and Gabriel and Saliba, who I thought dropped absolute world-class level performances to shut him down. I know Saliba probably did the more flashy things, but Gabriel continues, man. The Gabriel hype train. I'll continue to drive that train because he's been absolutely amazing this season. And I think that bozo gene has been removed. He's been in a lab. Someone's got in there and pulled it out of his head, and he's not doing stupid stuff anymore. Touch wood for your sake. But he's been really, really good. And I remember we were in for him at the same time. And when he was dropping all his clangers,
you've been in for everyone.
No. He made the decision. He chose you guys over us. Like, it was like Romano was reporting it at the time, right? Like that we were going head to head. And I don't know what the reason was, but he chose you guys, and it's been a smart one for him. He's been absolutely class for you. And at the time, I wasn't necessarily ruining it because he was dropping some clangers here and there. But now, boy, that looks like a stinker. But yeah, unbelievable, man. Your defense.
I mean, it just goes to show as well. Like, when a defense is a unit, right? Like, one player can look great, they can look bad if they're surrounded by essentially the wrong type of defense around them. So I think from the point of Gabriel, he has looked a bit stinky and he has done bozo gene, but a lot of that was before Saliba got here, right? I know it did spill over a little bit into Saliba's and him being together, but for the most part, it was before Saliba got here. It was while Ramsdale was in goal, and there were a lot of bozo genes. No, but I mean, there was a lot of bozo ability within that. You know what I mean? Right? Saliba was trying to hold it down. Yeah, like Saliba was trying to hold it down for all three of them, right? But I think Gabriel now, and I'm not going to give props to Raya for it because I think Gabriel was really good last season as well and really good this season up until Raya came in. But Gabriel seems to just be really like happy and confident. And I think if you see in their interviews as well, like Gabriel and Saliba get on really well. And I think there was a interview question where they asked Gabriel, like, oh, when Saliba got injured last season, and Gabriel like almost wants to cry because he's like, I need this guy next to me. So that I think that partnership, the two of them together is unbelievable. And I think that contributes to the fact that Gabriel feels more confident. He feels like he can go and do the things he needs to do. And Saliba's going to be there to clean up after him if something goes wrong. So Yeah, I can't. I've got to say, I don't think it's all on Gabriel. I think it's just also the fact that like he's been able and allowed to do the things that he needs to do as his kind of defender, which is like a real juggernaut type of like ball stopping
He's a
defender.
beast.
So
He's a
yeah,
beast. He's an absolute beast. He's decent with the ball as well. He's not absolutely shoddy with the ball. He's good enough with the ball. He's a beast. He actually kind of leads and orchestrates where Saliba needs to be sometimes. They're just a great combo, right? And I think they feel very comfortable together. And I hear you. You got to give credit to the duo. But the reason why I'm trying to give Gabriel some more props is because, understandably, right, you guys go
Saliba
so
gets
big on the
most of it.
Saliba hype train, right? I'm just trying to say Gabriel deserves equal amounts of praise, if not slightly more, because I do feel like he's leading that duo as well. Right, like Saliba does beautiful stuff, but you can see Gabriel's the chatter. He's the one organizing, trying to get things together. And of course, you need Gabriel's calmness to sometimes, get him to focus properly. And I definitely think you've got to give credit to Saliba for that, which is unbelievable for his age, right? But Gabriel, man, big props because he's done amazing. And I like
since you got that new hairline, man.
Oi,
that new hairline. Come on, man.
Turkey need a couple of points on his trophy. They need some money, right? But yeah, big up them, man. I think your defense was absolutely colossus, and yeah, completely snuffed out their attacking chances. I can't remember anything other than Ake, that header, which he should score, right? Which would have been harsh on you guys to lose.
As well.
Yeah, but he's like 2 yards out. He misses the header, hits his shoulder. Don't know what he's doing. He should really bury that, and if that goes in, again, that game might change and you might come out and you might play and it could go any way.
He ends up getting injured after that as well and coming off for Rico Lewis as well. So it's kind of a terrible cameo, unfortunately, from him.
Yeah.
But
poor old Ake.
Yeah. I mean, that could have changed. Like we're saying about the Jesus chances, like that could have changed the game completely. Because if we had been forced to come out and play a bit more, that's when you start losing 3-0 or 2-0 because you're losing the ball in transition and just
but you got to give
people like Haaland.
Yeah, but you got to give yourself credit. I could go either way, right? I've seen games where you score a goal and it opens up, the other team comes and then you batter them, right? You've battered good teams that way, not only the crap teams. You've battered some good teams that way as well. So really, it can go either way. But if you get the second, then it becomes the third really quickly. You've got that knack, which I want United to have, and I think we've had in previous years. But you've got the ability to, when you smell blood, you go for it and you get the second and third and fourth, and then the other team's just destroyed. And we don't. We get 2-goal leads or 1-goal leads, and then we let people back in, which we'll talk about in a minute with the Brentford game. But lastly, before we move on to that, Johns, how do you feel about the title race? Real quick before we move on to the segments, where do you think who's in control? Who's pole position? Do you go simply Liverpool first, so they're in pole, or how do you look at it now?
I think Liverpool have got to be in pole because they're ahead of us, ahead of City, and they've got the easiest run in from now until the end of the season, right? So I think you've got to put Liverpool in the conversation. I think you've got to put them first right now as well, because one thing that's really annoying and I think will help win the title is this ability to just come back from like losing. They've been doing it all season and it's been getting on my nerves. I can't remember. I don't think I could count on 2 hands. I think I'd need 4 hands to start counting how many times they've come back from losing. And I've been messaging people like, oh yes, Liverpool in the mud, they're about to lose. And they end up coming back and winning. And it's annoying the life out of me. So you've got to give them that, plus the fact that they're already in front of us and they've got an easy run in. Like those 3 things together have got to make them the favourites. And I think between City and us, maybe it's a bit of a toss-up. I think we've both got equally hard run-ins from now on. Maybe ours is a little bit harder. But I think you've got to put Liverpool in front, and maybe Arsenal and Man City got to share that second place for now, because I don't see, like, at this point, we've talked about it before, like it's all in our hands and all that rubbish, right? It legitimately is all in Liverpool's hands now, right? Like if they go and win those next 9 games or whatever it is, the title's over and there's nothing we can do about it, right? So from that point of view, like, and also add to the fact that like Tottenham are probably the deciding team, right? They have the ability to decide the title this year. They hate us. They do well against City. I don't remember them doing all that well against Liverpool. So when we look at the fact that
they beat them earlier.
Well, there you go, right? But I mean, I still don't think
they beat Liverpool.
No, I know they've beaten Liverpool before, but my point is, like, out of the 3 teams that they have to choose to win the league, I think they prefer. And I'm not saying No, I'm not saying that they're going to give it up by any means or anything else like that. But I think they'd probably choose Liverpool. I don't think they would choose City.
Nah, City, bro. City.
No,
Definitely
why
City.
would they want City to lose? They don't hate. I mean,
They don't
why
have
would
any
they,
beef. Why would they don't have any beef with City, but do you not remember all the
They
drama
beat
that
City
came
frequently, though.
No, I know, but you know, they could lose. I think City's their least hated team out of the three because they've got a little bit of beef with Liverpool because of the Luis Diaz situation, and then let's have a replay and all that crap that happened earlier in the season. I've seen a lot of Spurs fans not being super.
That's beef with the PGMOL, man. That's not beef with Liverpool.
I think they definitely don't want you to win. That's undeniable. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
You're the least favourite of the results. But yeah, let's see. You know, we've got Liverpool on the weekend. So, you know, I wouldn't put a lot of faith in us, but we've beaten them a couple of weeks back. So that's not a foregone conclusion that they'll win.
I'm not counting on you lot, bro. I'm not counting on you.
No, but
yes,
I know. But even a draw,
something.
even a draw would help you. They've got to play Spurs still. I think they've still got Villa. I know they've got the easier run, but there's some, like, you know, I'm not
there's
saying
an ability for them to drop points, of course, but I mean, it's all in their hands. Like, it legitimately is all in their hands right now. The hardest game that they've probably got is Tottenham and you, right? And we've got to play both as well. So
yeah.
It really all depends on how those things shape up, but it legitimately is all in Liverpool's hands. And I want to hear it. If they end up not winning the league, I want to hear people saying that they bottled it too. All right? Because we were in the same position last year, and maybe we had more points ahead, but we were in the same position last year and we didn't end up winning it, and everyone said that we bottled it. So let's just keep receipts, everybody. Liverpool are currently 2 points ahead of everyone. 2 points ahead, 9 games, easiest run. They better win it. Quadruples on, or no? I guess trebles on.
We finished that.
Trebles on.
That's not a real treble. But okay, let's get on to the next. Let's get on to the next next section of the pod then, Johns.